And who's giving me? They don't know. So I don't hear myself. So are we live? Are we live right now? Is this mine? What? Somebody took the label off. Are you going to be standing there the whole time? Are you going to be standing there the whole time? Okay. Do you think you could get just like a photo of me? Could you take like a photo of me so I could put on my socials? Thanks. 20 seconds. We're good? Can they hear me? Wow, those are bright lights. Hello, everyone. My name is Clinton Hobart. I am a licensed Disney fine artist, and I am going to be painting a Disney character for you up here and trying not to embarrass myself. That's basically what I'm going to be doing. I don't know if you have, well, have questions if you have them at some point. They have given me a half an hour, just so you have just some quick background. So a Disney fine artist, I don't work on the films. I make the oil paintings, or I have made a few oil paintings that go into the Disney galleries at the theme parks. And my work takes typically between 6 hours and a year to make one painting. And they have given me a half an hour. So I'm going to be demonstrating how to draw an eyeball. Basically, I'm going to be doing a quick painting of Skip. I did a blue line drawing of Stitch, and the blue line drawing is so that you're not supposed to know that I did it. It's cheating, although not really effective if I just told you about it. But that's I started this a few seconds ago, and I've got some blue paint. I've got to give you a painting. And we'll be giving this away for free at the end. And then in about today we're going to give it away, and then tomorrow I'll have to buy it back off of eBay. So I'm looking forward to that. All right, so here can they see the painting, or they just see the back of am I in my own way? And now I've got the Disney book of how to draw the Disney characters, right? It's my phone. Nobody saw that either. So, did I make a mistake already? So this is basically how I would be working at home, which is to just, well, no, I don't work at home in front of an audience full of, this many people. That would just be weird. But the process is roughly the same. And if I'm going to pretend that you guys ask me some questions and try to answer some of the biggies, which is also odd because I'm basically just sitting up here talking to myself. But if you're loud, you can yell something out. I have no problem with that. If you guys have any questions. So the number one question I get is, how'd I get into this? And the answer to that is, I was a real artist years ago. My training is in portraits and still lifes. And I had I did a Disney internship and a mentorship when I was in art school. And it didn't go, I didn't get in. I really wanted to. And so I started oil painting. And about, 2013, I did about 4 or 5 Disney-themed still lifes, which they released as limited edition prints. And then suddenly I went from the fine art gallery world to the Comic-Con world. And it's been the best 5 years of my life. I had a lot of jobs before that. I've been fired from, I was one of those artists where, I had all the jobs I worked in. I did landscaping until I backed the truck into a fence and they fired me. I worked in a metaphysical bookstore for about 3.5 weeks. They had an author named James Van Praagh come in. So I'm sure somebody in here maybe knows who he is. He talks to dead people, which is fine. I don't argue with him. I don't talk to dead people, but he does. And he came in with a bunch of his books that were signed, and he had some signed by the author slips in there. And he left the signed by the author slips in the store. So I put them in all the religious books. And they fired me for that. Because I was the only one that found that funny. And I worked in a seafood bakery for a while. The jelly donut was disgusting. No, I made that one up. There's no seafood bakery. That's just a bad joke. And I worked at Macy's for 3 weeks once. 3 weeks seems to be the limit that I was tolerable when I was younger. I'm not going to. This thing fell in a really uncomfortable place. Is that okay there? Okay. Well, we're gonna. So I have to lean my hand on my canvas to draw a straight line. I'm probably blocking the view for some of you, but I'm just trying to get this little stitch out. I'm at least hoping to get the head in for you. And so I had a lot of jobs. The job at Macy's that I had, which I actually enjoyed working. I worked at Macy's for 3 weeks once. And a little aside, what? This way? Oh, sorry. So I worked at Macy's, and when I was working at Macy's, it was in 2008 when there was no money for everybody. And so I got a job at Macy's, and I was making $10 an hour, and I was selling ties. If you're an artist, selling ties is not really how you want to make a living. And so what I did was, I figured if I was going to make $10 an hour, I devised a method of painting by which I could make a study of a still life in 6 hours, and if I put it on eBay for $60, I could then make $60 an hour, $10 an hour, and at least I'd be painting. And so I put these paintings on eBay, and to my surprise, they weren't selling for $60. They were selling for $100, $110, $200, $300. One went to $400 to a Simon Cowell. And to this day, I don't know if it was just a guy whose name was Simon Cowell or if it was the Simon Cowell. I don't know how to find out. I mean, what am I going to say to him? Hey, did you buy a painting off of eBay for $400? He may remember. You also have to wonder why he would be on eBay buying art, but stranger things have happened. Stranger things have definitely happened. And that one sold for like $400. But the point was, I was making a pretty good living doing that for a couple of years. And then I started getting into real galleries, but real art galleries are not thrilled when you're selling paintings on eBay. Because why would you buy them from a real art gallery if you could just get them on eBay? And I have about 12 samples of those. They sell now for about $500 each out of the galleries. So that's a considerable increase. It's good for me. And I have a few of them with me that I will discount to anybody in the audience, which is probably a lot of people who are here. Just say, hey, I saw you on stage, and I'll give you a pretty good discount. Although I think they can hear this, so pretty much anybody in the room now can just say that. How am I going to know if you saw me on stage or not? I'm up here. Like, all I see are lights. This is like a witness room. I can't see anything. There's lights in my eyes. I'm sorry I didn't bring any cats with me for the stage for anybody who was here yesterday. It's really hard to paint with. I'm an oil painter. A cat is like the worst idea in the world. Just hair all over everything. Is that a question or just somebody talking really loudly? My first time in Seattle, not that anybody cares. I grew up in New York and New Jersey. So you guys are not easy to bribe. I got to say that about Seattle. Like, no, I can't bribe anybody to come. Like, can I borrow the hotel cart to move my stuff over to the? Oh, sorry, sir, that's against the rules. I'm like, well, here's an Andrew Jackson. They're like, still against the rules, and I'm like, what? Really? So that's if you go, anybody who's like from Seattle who's never been to New York, that's a perk. You can bribe people to do things you want them to do. Been doing it my whole life. They're probably going to edit that out. Yeah, I've had a couple of interviews where like we had to go back and ask the interviewer, could you cut that one thing he said out? So I've been accused of being too honest at times, but it's all right. It's been working for me so far. I think we need more honesty in the world. You guys can ask me anything you want. I'll give you a straight answer. So, the other question I get asked a lot is, how do I get into Disney? So, we got any kids in the audience who want to be artists? Anybody want to be? Just show of hands. I do this all the time. Raise your hand if you want to be an artist. Now, put them down if you play video games. Oh, there's still some hands up. That's fantastic. The last video game I played was The Legend of Zelda in 1987. I played it for like 3 days straight, and then at a very young age, some part of my brain went, that's not productive. I should be reading books or working out or doing basically anything but that. And so I always tell kids, I'm like, look, if you're playing video games, every second you're playing video games, I'm painting and drawing. And I'm your competition, and I like my job. I don't want to give it up. But this is a pretty smart city. You guys have bookstores everywhere. I love that. Like walking down the street, there's like just passing bookstores and art galleries. Although last night I was walking home, I saw about 12,000 people with Xbox shirts on. I couldn't figure that one out. They play video games in the stadium? Ah. I was like, wow, that's a lot of video game people. I wish one of these video game kids, I really wish that somebody would write a diet book. Because I'm a little on the chunky side. I admit it. I'm cool with it. I work out every day, but I could lose a few pounds. And I can't figure out how these guys sit for 8 hours a day doing this and stay that thin, eating pizza and Pop-Tarts. I'm in the gym every day, and it's tough to stay thin. What that has to do with painting, I have no idea. I should change my name to Tangent. All right, I'm giving Stitch a foot. If I have time, so let's get a little process. So whenever you do this, I'm doing what is called a light drawing, which is a ghost drawing. And what that means is this is a light drawing that I will go over in darker colors and fill in with paint. And then go and make the paint a little darker and draw it again, and then make it darker and then draw it again, until such time as the drawing looks good. We are not going to get to that stage today because I don't have enough time. It usually takes me several hours to get a drawing to the point where it looks good. I also have what's called a maul stick, which is a stick that prevents me from it steadies my hand and prevents me from putting my hand in my own work. I don't know where that is. I'm sure they have, your airports are fairly strict with letting me bring a large stick onto a plane. I don't know why. They had no problem with the knife and the explosives. No, I'm kidding. That joke's going to cost me 3 hours later. Probably a TSA agent. I heard what you said on stage. I'm going to have to interrogate you. So I'm just going over his eye a little bit to make this darker. And I'm just drawing his eyes. Drawing cartoons is basically just drawing circles and lines. Just lines and circles. It's really all it is. Can anybody tell me how much time I have left? I have no idea. Start at 1:15, 1:30. I'll probably have a solid 15 minutes. So, aside from painting Disney stuff, I paint still lifes. I paint ocean waves. I painted a portrait of Doritos. It was supposed to be a joke. I'll tell the Dorito story because I've got time, and everybody loves the Dorito story. The number one question they get when you guys come, if anyone's been to my table, a lot of people say to me, why did you paint Doritos? My brother is a 16th century French literary scholar with a double doctorate from Harvard and the Sorbonne. That's true, and he's younger than me. You would think in my family I'd be the star, Disney artist. I've been on stage with Lou Ferrigno. But no, I got to have a brother who's a genius. And so my mother loves to tell stories. Some of you probably could relate to this one. My mother's always like, oh, my son lives in Paris, and he's a scholar, and he does this, and he does that. And my other son paints pictures. So that's my placement in the family history right now. I have no idea where I was going with that. Oh, the Dorito story. So I was talking to my brother one day, and he said, I don't know what you're painting apples and eggshells for. If Rembrandt were alive today, he'd be painting Cheetos and Doritos, because that's what this country eats now. And so as soon as he said it, we were like, this is fantastic. I got to do it. So I Googled it, because that's what you do, to see if anybody else had ever done it. And as it turned out, at that time, nobody else had ever painted a portrait of Doritos. So I made the painting, and I thought it was funny. It was supposed to be a joke. And I did a show with a guy named Michael Rooker, who was Yondu in Guardians of the Galaxy. He was on some other show about monsters or zombies or something, but I never saw that one. He's just Yondu to me. And he bought the original. He thought it was hilarious, and he bought it. And he actually worked me down. The painting was $500, and he couldn't afford $500. He needed a discount and a free frame. Okay. So I gave him the discount because, why not? He's Michael Rooker. And then I said, but if I'm giving you a discount, I want a selfie. And why not, right? So we took a selfie, and I posted the photo of me, him, and the Dorito painting on my Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And it got about 50, maybe 60 likes from my friends and family. And he posted it on his Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And he got about 15,000. In the first 5 minutes. And I started getting phone calls for Cheetos and Funyuns and something called Cheez-Its. I mean, just somebody asked me to do Pringles once, but they're all the same shape. They're impossible to paint. There must be like a stamp that makes Pringles because it's not a natural thing. And so anyway, I became the painter of snack food somehow. And I actually said to him at a show recently, I don't know whether I should thank you or kill you, because the only original I sold this weekend was a Dorito painting. And so he said, if I turn you into the next Andy Warhol, you'll be thanking me forever. But we're still waiting. So I just got a note that says I have 10 minutes. And I've got little thumbprints now all over the canvas. This is going to look like your 5-year-old painted it. But that's okay. It's about the memory. All right, let's see. Let's give him some ears real quick. So that's the Dorito story. I don't know if you guys have any questions. If anybody has a yell a question out, you probably come right up and just yell it out. I mean, I'm not going to tell anybody. Who's going to know? Who's my favorite character to draw? I like painting people. As far as characters go, I really like Harley Quinn right now because she sells so well. I can't keep a Harley Quinn in stock. I do have an issue with the parents that let their little 6 and 7-year-old kids dress up as Harley Quinn, and I just say to them, I'm like, have you Googled Stockholm Syndrome? Because Harley Quinn's really not all there mentally. She's probably got a couple of issues. But as far as Disney characters go, I love drawing Beast. Not to give too much away of myself, I can relate to Beast. He's like, and it's sort of the quintessential fairy tale in that Beauty and the Beast is really about this beast who meets the most beautiful girl in town. She doesn't realize that she's beautiful. She spends all of her time reading books, and she sees through the beast's harsh exterior to the wonderful human being beneath. I mean, talk about a fairy tale. It's never gonna happen. So that's he's kind of my favorite character, and I could just relate to him. And then I don't know if it's my favorite character, but I got a soft spot for Peter Pan, mostly because every therapist I've ever met has told me I've had his complex within 5 minutes of meeting me. I'm working at Comic-Con. Obviously, if I wanted to grow up, I'd have a real job. But this is the greatest, I'm convinced this is the greatest job in the world. My only regret is that if they had given me this choice when I was a kid, I would have picked actor, only because at the end of a show, I have to pack up all these paintings, and they put a bunch of photos in a suitcase and leave, and it's just not fair. Like, they're done in 5 seconds. It takes me an hour to pack up. That's not the money. That's the only real reason. All right, I'm told 5 minutes till we give this away. I'm going to add some drawing lines to this, which don't actually mean anything. It's just going to make it look more impressive. I told you I was too honest. Sure.
Can you talk about perseverance in art?
Mm-hmm. Can I talk about it? It's the only. She said the question was, can I talk about perseverance in art? I would argue that I have almost no talent whatsoever. None. This is just persistence and blind determination to the point of stupidity, where, just don't quit. Just don't ever give up. The world is going to tell you what you cannot do, and you have to have some ability. You have to recognize when you're good and when you're not good. And when you're good, you need to be able to say to yourself, I am good enough, and I'm not going to listen to the people. When I was applying for Disney in 2013, there was no doubt in my mind I was going to get in, to the point where everyone I know thought I was completely insane. My father was like, they get 20,000 submissions a year. They hire 2 people, and you're walking around like you're going to get in. I'm not sure what happened. And I was absolutely 100% convinced that I was going to get in, and no one could tell me otherwise. And I did. It took 15 years, but I got in. And so persistence is really, Woody Allen once said years ago, 80% of success is just showing up. And I absolutely believe that. Just don't quit, don't give up, work. And then the other thing is know the right people. I've had a tremendous amount of help. I'm going to name drop a little bit. I've had a tremendous amount of help from Ace Comic-Con. Garib and Stephen Shamus owns a tremendous amount of my work. He's been probably the single greatest thing that ever happened to me in my whole life. I mean, I love these guys. I love this show, and I'm so happy to be here. But I had to have the ability to get here and stay here, and then you need a little help. And hopefully somebody will see something in your work and love it enough to help you out. And that's the key. But hard work will definitely. And just don't quit. Just don't quit. The time's going to go by whether or not you're painting. So you've got to just keep fighting. No problem. I think we have like a minute for any other questions. Oh, geez, that line did not go well. I got to cover that up. All right. All right, so when I was younger, a lot of artists, you'll have a tendency to think that you're a genius when you're in your 20s and 30s. When you're in your 40s, you realize, no, you're not. But when I was younger, I painted a series of mask paintings, which were still lifes based on the nature of relationships. There was 5 paintings, like a Shakespearean tragedy. Each painting had specific items. They're at my table. I could show them to you if you want to stop by. And one of them took me a full year to paint. It was a life-size still life. I thought that when I painted these 5 paintings, that the art world would instantly recognize my genius. I would be making millions of dollars, and then I would be set for the rest of my life. And all 5 of those paintings are in my mother's living room. And then I painted Cheetos, Doritos, and Mickey Mouse, and now I'm here signing autographs. So that's often how life works. But I have images of those paintings with me. And so if anybody wants to see some of that stuff, I will be at my table for about a half an hour. The way that this has worked out, unfortunately, is that my plane leaves at like 6. So I'm going to have to like run back to my table. I'll have about an hour to chat with you guys, and then I got to get on a plane and go to someplace hot. I love your weather here. Although I'm told I wouldn't be saying that if it was November. But I'm like, I don't know what everyone's complaining about. It's like, it's nice, it's sunny, everybody's out. Because it's June. I've been living in Florida thanks to Disney, and June is not a good, people are like, oh, it's June. 105 with 100% humidity. You're sweating while you're in the shower. No, this is acrylic. It's probably the only time I've ever used acrylic, and it's really reminding me right now why I hate acrylic. Because it's just drying and getting gooey. I've got spots all over the place. I would like to do Star Wars. I'm trying to get that license taken care of. But I would love to do Star Wars. I want to do, a painting of like Mickey Mouse as a Jedi fighting Iron Man, but I have to get permission from 3 different CEOs. It just seems like a lot of work. That's a good reason to do it then. So I'm just making some lines on this canvas with a pencil to make sure that it looks real sketchy, so that if I ever have to justify this thing's existence. Because someday somebody's going to show this to you and be like, could you sign this? I'm going to sign it, but it's coming. You get that sketch that somebody took out of a garbage can. Whenever I throw something out now, I always cut it in half, because you get the dumpster people who, you leave a show and you throw everything in the garbage, and then you... Any other quick questions? I think we have like a minute for some questions. I can hear you guys, so you can just yell them out. All right, I can't hear that one. Do I know James Hance? Is he a Disney artist? Oh! Yeah, I know of him. I'm not sure he's got permission to be doing that stuff. I don't know him. I do love his work, though. Any other questions? Do I ever work with water? I was trained in watercolor. I heard 2 at the same time. What was the second one? All right, I can't hear anything now. What advice would I have? It's the same advice I think I gave earlier, which was like, just don't ever quit. Just whatever you do, don't give up. Practice, practice, practice. And read. I know everything's online nowadays, but a lot of the really good information is still in these things called books that you can go and buy and read. And some of my, like the Famous Artist School books, the Andrew Loomis books, the Harold Speed books, I don't know if those are digital or not, but those are like some of the things that I really looked to when I was younger. And those are books, basically my favorite people are dead people. My favorite actor is Jimmy Stewart. My favorite actress is Barbara Stanwyck. My favorite music is Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin. So I don't really know what's going on nowadays. I'm lucky I can check my email. And so I love books. Like my favorite artwork is all the illustrators from the turn of the century, the Saturday Evening Post guys. J.C. Leyendecker and Walt Otto and Norman Rockwell. I love all that stuff. And so there was a group of books called the Famous Artist School books that those guys put out years ago, and they're 4 years of art school. But the famous artist school books, and then Andrew Loomis's creative illustration is basically all you need to get started. And then the other thing I would say is, if you can't paint in black and white, you can't paint in color. Learn your black and white. Copy black and white photos, do black and white still lifes, learn how to paint in black and white, and then move into color. And nobody ever listens to me on that one. Okay, there's a little signature. Oh, I'm going to write Ace Comic-Con demo so that everybody knows, like, this didn't take me a week to do. Ace. I got to be out of here in like 5 minutes. All right, so I guess, is it question time? I mean, giveaway time. It's got to be close. So we're going to do, I forgot how to spell Seattle. All right. So, all right, we're going to give this away. Uh-oh. He dripped. Now that's not good. That's terrible. I got to fix. All right, I'm going to ruin this shirt. I hate acrylic. Oh my God, do I hate acrylic. I've never had water drip down an oil painting unless accidentally left it in the rain. So the question is, this is for some of you older folks. If a kid gets this right, I'm going to be seriously impressed. Which cast member of the TV show MASH also voiced a very famous Disney character in Beauty and the Beast? We need the actor's name. First person. Which one? It is not Alan Alda. Yes, who said that? That you're the winner. It is David Ogden Stiers, who is Charles on MASH, and he was Cogsworth. The last time I did this, I asked who the Chicago actor was. Jerry Orbach, who was Lumiere, the Candlestick, and he was in the original Broadway production of the show Chicago. For those of you who have seen the movie, Jerry Orbach did a way better job than Richard Gere. But since nobody filmed it, you got a couple of YouTube clips. Do we know who the winner was? I don't know. I can't see anything. It's just like, come on. If whoever got the right, this is your honor system. If you got the right answer, come on up here. It's somebody. It was you? All right. Are you a big MASH fan?
No, I don't know the voices.
Oh.
Hi.
Now what do I do? Do I get up? Can I get up?
Do I get up here?
I can get up. I have to take this with me. Now what? Oh, I got to give it to him. Can he come up here? Or should I come down there? Photo moment, he gets a painting. I'm sure a lot of you are jealous. Please don't put this on eBay tomorrow.
I promise you I won't.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Wow, this is, like, now that I stood up, there's like a decent amount of people in there. Thanks for coming, guys. Appreciate it. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. What hat am I wearing?